Is it working? Can you hear me? All right, cool. Seems to be working on my phone. All right, yeah, sound check. Can you guys hear me? All right, awesome. Sound is good. All right, so thank you all very much for joining in with me. This is not the first time I'm going live, so for the guys who have been there last time I was programming, thank you very much for being here again. To the other people, thank you so much for being here for the first time. I really plan on doing this more often than just right now, but it takes a lot of effort to set something up. Hence why I'm doing a little Q&A session to get a few questions answered, to tease you guys a bit. You already saw me opening this tab. I got something cool to show you. I'm going to be talking about a few of the updates that we're working on. I'm going to be discussing some things in the future. Obviously, going through the list of questions that you guys have, just making sure that I'm following along with the chat. Yeah, just going to answer a lot of questions. That's going to be the main purpose of this stream, as well as showing you guys some behind the scenes stuff and getting you up to speed about what we've been working on. Um, so I'd like to start off by thanking you all for being here because you're all patrons. I really appreciate how much you guys are helping us out. Developing a game obviously isn't free, so we really appreciate all the extra funds that we're getting. So thank you very much for that. Special thanks to the tier 3 patrons. I know it's a lot of money to give to a game, especially just a guy uh, trying to sell you a future. But yeah, it's you're reinvesting into something, and we have our expenses, and you'll see in a bit what we are using your money for. You'll like what you see. Um, Anyhow, I'm gonna cut shit there straight to the first teaser. Over here we have a swamp that we've been working on. This is going to be a new boss. We haven't really picked a name for him yet, but he's going to be a new boss. He's going to have his own big area pretty much. So it's not just going to be the size you see here right now, because this is like a small subset of pretty much like a sample. We've been working with an artist. She's been making this whole environment, and in the meantime, we've been going back and forth and seeing what we want things to turn out like. So this is pretty much like the mock-up that we've received to test, well, to pretty much like see if this is going the way we want it to go. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it looks great. Obviously, not everything you see here makes sense because this tree obviously has shadow that's in the water and stuff like that. But it's just a visual image to give you an idea of what we're building over here. This boss is going to be. Am I teasing this? Yeah, fuck it, I'm teasing it. So this boss is going to be one of the bosses that it will only be possible to be killed with magic. So you can come in with your swords. It's not gonna do much. I mean, this thing is a massive fucking tree. Like, what do you want to do with your swords? Trying to chop it down? Like, you might as well just bring your axe, you know. But for this boss, we wanted to introduce some kind of new system, and it's something that you'll be seeing a lot in the future too. Um, we want to move away from just the melee part of the game. And we've obviously, like you've already asked this question, like when is mage coming, when is range coming? Both are coming. Both are coming very soon. We've shown that video where I was throwing spells at Almighty, and Almighty was trying to kill me in the wastelands. Um, that is something we've been working on pretty much every day, and unfortunately, like a lot of things we do require art, so we feel we're in a situation a lot where we're trying to like go faster than the art really lets us. So with Magic, we've sadly been at a bit of a standstill because the primary artist who was working on Magic is unfortunately very busy right now. But we're working on staves, we're working on spells, we're working on spell books, we're working on abilities for Magic, we're working on magical outfits. So Magic isn't just going to be this thing where we release a way to cast projectiles. It's going to be more than just that. Um, it's dead. It's dead. Yeah, maybe you guys just have to restart it if it's only for some. Anyways, yeah, if it's not working, give it a quick reload, see if that fixes it. I'm not really that accustomed to streaming, so I'm probably fucking up a lot of things here. That's what I can find. Yeah, I'll give you guys like a minute to catch up, make sure everything works. For the people who can't get it to work, you just let me know. All right. Okay, so um, apparently I cut out just as I was talking about how magic is going to be. I don't know if you guys heard anything that I said, but I'll just rehash. Um, Magic isn't going to be one of these things where we just introduce like a joystick. Because as you saw, that joystick in the bottom right is going to be the way that you're going to be casting spells. We didn't want to create one of these games where you like tap on an enemy and then just hold down a button that you'll be casting. Like we wanted to magic in range to be something powerful if you're good at aiming. So you're gonna have to bring some skill into the fight. You're not gonna be like tapping and then just make sure you're away from your opponent, keeping that button pressed so you can keep casting spells. Like it's gonna be more than that. Um, will we have separate levels? No. Um, Even though this is something that we really wanted, because we feel that if you're a warrior, you should get better at melee when you're training your melee skills when you're using a sword, and we feel that you should be getting better at magic once you're training magic, like similar to RuneScape, similar to a lot of other games. However, we have one major, well, yeah, we have one major limitation here, which is we cannot just like introduce magic as a skill and then be, you know, having those as skills and the base level be just a base level. Because like, how are you going to like let the base level affect things? You'll have your base level, you spec your stats, but mage would be like this complementary skill that you can train. So we have discussed like a lot regarding this subject, and one of the most important things that came up was that we really in the future want to turn everything into a skill, including melee, so that we can go down this route and say, all right, you're training your melee, you get better at melee. Your melee level is like 50, you can start wearing Mythen. Your magic level is like 60, you can start wearing these kind of like sick robes, whatever. So that you can specialize yourself in ways that doesn't limit you. Like you won't be limited to a certain thing. You can like train your melee one day and then train your range the other day, magic the next day. But then you still have this kind of like freedom in deciding, all right, today I feel like doing this. And you get better at it and you get new things, but just for that specific thing. But this will be something that is like a big change. Like we won't just be able to say, all right, everyone's just going to go start training their skills separately. Because what are we going to do with the people who are like level 110? We can't just be like, all right, you'll have like melee level 110, because we kind of also wanted to introduce defense as a different skill. So this whole thing where we have a system from the past pretty much is really limiting in how we really wanted to execute magic. But I feel like down the road it's going to be something like that. We may introduce it right now as like a stat system where you spec your stats and you get better at magic. But down the road we will probably just turn everything into a skill because it fits better within the vision that we have of developing your character on different points without just respecking and switching that up. Like we feel that there should be no such thing as having a bad character if you spend so much time on it. You should get better at things that you keep doing. So, for example, if you do a lot of melee, you'll get good at melee. And then if you spend your next week training your magic, you're gonna have to start out from level one because you're a bad mage. Like you don't know shit about casting spells at that point. You're gonna have to learn how to cast a spell. You'll set your house on fire, you kill your dog, and that's just the way things go when you're bad at magic. Um, and that is something that will definitely you'll definitely be seeing that in the near future. But magic will first, unfortunately, see its appearance without it's broken again. Oh, this is broken for one. Yeah, the earlier we do that, the better. I do agree. But we have to be careful with spreading ourselves too thin. Um, it's something that I keep saying, like I wish I did this sooner. I wish I did it from the start and stuff like that. Um, but this is going to be one of those updates where we just have to plan it out really carefully and offer people like a way to change their build back to what they envisioned themselves to be. For example, one of the way we thought about this is giving people some kind of interface once they logged in after this change that said, all right, we have changed the way things work. Right now, everything has turned into a skill. You had this much experience, and you can distribute it across stats. Only melee stats, since you would have been able to train magic at that point. And that would most likely be the road we would be going. Like we would be giving people the option to spread their XP that they have earned throughout their whole journey across the points that they wanted. So that's the way things would be added if and when we're going in that route. It's not so much if, it's going to be when. But yeah, like I said, it's important that we just like trying to keep our updates as small as possible, a small team. So for now, we're just very excited to be working on Magic. It's a lot of fun, especially when the visual arts are coming together. Like we're working on systems to make nice particles, like fireballs, these kind of explosions around players. We're also going to be working on things where you can be a support mage. So it won't be just like casting spells. You'll also be able to take care of your team in bigger fights like boss battles and stuff. And another thing that we're introducing soon is status effects. And status effects will be pretty much a complementary system to the whole combat, where just like in Pokemon, you have status effects: burn, freeze, poison. Well, Pokemon has sleep. We're not adding sleep. And stuff like that will be introduced in boss fights, but also in Magic, and maybe even down the road, also in Melee and Ranged. So in the near future, for example, with this boss, you'll be able to burn the boss with your fire spells. So the boss will take burn damage over time. Um, but in exchange, maybe this boss or whatever other creature will be poisoning you, and then you have to be sure that you're bringing your antidotes for it. Or you can have a support mage on your team that's going to be casting spells to take care of the team who gets the debuffs. Um, and this is a bit of like the whole way we want to do combat in the near future. Like we wanna make combat more dynamic. Right now, it's just like you mash a button, you make sure you have enough potions, you make sure your team is healthy for as far as that possible right now in the current meta. Um, but we really want to move to a point where you're going to be like working together as a team, taking down bigger bosses, and it's not just going to be about mashing a button. It's going to be about tactical play. Like you're going to have like someone out on the front lines attacking the boss, but those people are going to be taking the most damage. And if you're a mage, your defense and your hit points is going to be lower, obviously, because you're a mage. You're investing everything into being like very powerful with your spells. So you get this system in a lot of online MMORPG games where you like have to take care of your team members, and they take care of you, and you take care of them. So this was something we had planned for Firaxis, where one of the bosses was going to be more team play. Unfortunately, we weren't going to be making it all in time because it's a lot of work. And we didn't want to delay the update too much, so we decided to release Firaxis without magic. But our initial plan was to have Firaxis have the final boss of Firaxis work with these mechanics. Um, so Fire Bat was a Freudian slip. Uh, I don't think I said Fire Bat. Maybe I said firebat, but there's no firebat coming, even though I wish there was a firebat because that sounds cool. But I'm gonna use that as a suggestion. Um, so that's huge for mage. Will melee be able to apply burn or poison with melee weapons? Yes. You'll definitely see those effects the same way that you'll see them with magic. However, we want to keep magic one of the primary sources of this because it makes more sense that your spells are like some kind of like uh, not just damage inflicting things. Like for example, if I cast a firebolt on my dog over there, she's going to be on fire. Like she's going to have to take care of her fire debuff, and I can be a warrior and I can like try to oil my sword up and then like light it on fire and trying to smack people with it. But I feel like magic should be one of the primary inflictors of those debuffs. Um, but we have been working on a couple weapons that will inflict those debuffs as well. So you'll see down the road we have definitely not explored all the parts of what we can do with debuffs yet. But it will be like a very core thing of the game. You'll see it in like most of the combat down the road, and we also want to introduce, for example, tiered debuffs, where you can get poisoned by Scorpion, but you can also get poisoned by a very strong level 500 boss, for example. And you won't be able to cure your poison, look like your tier 5 poison from the big boss with the antidote that you have for scorpions. So that's going to be like difference in that. The bigger the boss, the higher the tier of the debuff, and the stronger either your magic, because you'll be able to cure those things with magic, but you'll need high magic spells, or you're going to need very strong potions, which will be brewable. I mean, most of you have seen the teaser skills on the skill panel. One of them is alchemy, as you've seen. So there's going to be like chemistry between the two. Yeah, I know that was a bad joke, but um, I like the idea of promoting teamwork. Yeah, teamwork is definitely something that we want to start focusing on more, mainly because we believe that this is a multiplayer game, and we've been doing a lot for single player people. Like people have been able to do everything alone throughout this game. Um, but I feel that if you're making an MMORPG, like I'm more of a solo player myself, so maybe that's where this bias comes from. But I also feel that if you're making an MMORPG, you need to facilitate to all the people. So that includes people that want to play alone, but also the people that feel that they're more they give more meaning to a team, and that is something that we've been missing out on. Like, I'll admit that we have only recently seen the introduction of parties, which wasn't even a thing before like July, I think. Like the game was entirely single player. So we really wanna like focus more on the whole team play, but also on the friend systems. Like for example, we're gonna be adding like friend systems. Those are long overdue. You'll be able to set up a clan somewhere down the road too. We've been having big plans for making clans. And all those features, they will be added into the game rather soon. But obviously, all in due time, one step at a time. But team play is definitely very high on our list. Um, I'm going to start skipping to the. Oh, here's one more question. How do you think about HB? Seeing how most characters, even 110, have the same HP, maybe more HP per level. One of the things that one of our higher level players, Kane, has suggested in the past, as well as a few others, was that we should increase the amount of skill points you're getting at higher levels. Um, and while I do agree with that suggestion, I feel that it is very hard to balance the game at this point because if you would get 3 stat points per level, starting at level 110, that means that instead of 20 stat points all the way that you would get up to 110, you're going to be getting 30. And it may not sound like a huge difference, but if you start doing that from level 90, it's going to be even bigger. And balancing right now is extremely hard. Like we've been seeing it with introducing the content for Vraxis, and I'll be showing you teasers of that soon too. Um, it's incredibly hard to maintain some kind of balance. Like when we're adding these new armors for access, we both want them to be good. Like when you get those, you should be like, all right, I can finally drop my phantom gear somewhere else and rock in this new armor. But at the same time, you shouldn't be going back to the ice demon and one hitting it, you know? So there should be some kind of like balance because you don't want to like devalue the whole ice demon and before tiers. Like the game should progress, but you don't want to like devalue all the work that goes before just because you're introducing something stronger. And it has become more of a pain point to balance out the higher things, mainly because we don't want to devalue everything before it. We don't want to make this game just about the end game where you pretty much like rush to get to the end game, just like in World of Warcraft, and then start doing raids because the rest doesn't matter. We also want to make the whole road towards that be relevant, and we won't be able to do that if we devalue all the things that you encounter during your whole adventure. For example, Deadrock, we're actually reworking Deadrock right now because Shade is working on a new appearance for it. But Deadrock is still relevant, and the way we managed to do that is by not devaluing Deadrock with the introduction of Phantom. Like even though it was stronger, it was still an important part for people that didn't have it yet. Um, so that is why it's getting increasingly harder to introduce new stuff. Um, so even though we would love to rework the way that hit points and stuff, or like even the getting stronger in general thing would work, we have to be careful. We have to be careful that we're not going to shoot ourselves in the foot and be like, oh well, fuck. Now everyone's like so overpowered that we have to either make everything stronger or make people weaker or like introduce new things for people to do, and then, you know, we'll only find ourselves like running circles around the real problem. Is there a reason shields aren't in yet? There is a reason shields aren't in yet. It's because we're working on it for the next update. Um, Both gloves and shields are on our update list right now. We're trying to get a few shields made and a few gloves made. Those are the last pieces of your armor that you see are empty. Those will be filled up soon too. So rest assured, we're adding those. We're adding those. Um, how do you feel about combining HP and defense into the same stat? I feel even though I think it's a decent idea because your vitality and your defense are very closely related. I feel like hit points is something that affects your overall ability to absorb damage, where defense should be more geared towards deflection. And a lot of people don't like the accuracy system that's in the game right now. So this may see some kind of like overhaul. But I feel like defense should be like, for example, in World of Warcraft, when you have a character that is a tank, you're actually a tank. Like your goal is to be aggressing whatever you're going to do in your raid, making sure it attacks you, have enough what's it called? Haste? No. There's some kind of mechanic in World of Warcraft where you make sure the boss keeps attacking you by casting spells to make it angry or whatever. Um, and that is the purpose of your defense. You're supposed to like be able to take as many hits as possible. But I feel like hit points should be like in between being the damage dealer and being on the receiving end of damage, something that balances out how many hits you can take without sacrificing the points you would put into attack. And I feel like all of the stats right now could use improvements. For example, there should be more to defense. Like we added that absorb mechanic a bit ago, but I feel like it's still not enough. And I feel like hit points could, for example, also affect how much your potions heal, for instance, or how I don't know. Like there are more things that we could be adding to that. Um, but I feel like they should remain separate stats because it gives us the flexibility for making things more unique down the road. Like we're still small, we're still a very small game, but we want to keep the flexibility of like adding in new features for different stats, especially when we're going down that route of having them as skills that you can train, so that you can pretty much work on your character in a way where even leveling up your health would be beneficial because then at one point you can wear some kind of amulet that replenishes your health faster or whatever. Um, will this be available to finish watching later? I'm having to go. Yeah, you can rewatch it later. You can close it and watch it any other time. Even though I'd be sad to see you go. Um, Let me see. Personal opinion: the only real way to not devalue the previous armies and make it all about endgame is to move towards horizontal progression. For example, gear with different stat distributions rather than more stats. Um, I completely agree. And we've been looking into ways for doing this. Our first idea for this was having um, different kind of attributes on drops. So, for example, you could get a Phantom Sword, and it would have like plus 2 extra attack. Or you could have a Phantom Sword that had like plus 2 extra HP, but -1 attack or something like that. Um, and even though we really like the idea, like we've discussed this a lot, we feel like um, it's going to make it really hard for us down the road because if we have different kinds of stats available, let's say we were going to whatever, like let's say we come to the conclusion, all right, Phantom is too strong, we need to nerf it a bit, but the extra bonus stats we added to the possible loot is respective to the base stats. So if we're going to change the base stats, suddenly it's going to be disproportionate because when we introduced those extra stats in the drop tables, they were made for whatever we gave them at that point. So we would have a real hard time making changes to existing things, and especially because we're in this phase where we're trying to like make sure that the things we do are easy to change because we don't really know, like this is the first time that we're making the game, this is the first time that we're making a game this big, so we're obviously running into things, and like even like right now we have a whole list of things that we want to rework, so we want to grant ourselves the flexibility of saying like, all right, we fucked up there, we need to go back and we need to change that. Are we able to get sound adjustment like muting the music? Yes, this is in that same game already. We're making a user interface for it soon, but you can expect this for the next update. When mages come out, will we be able to make more than one character? Um, this is something that goes a bit beyond making a new character. Right now, the systems are already set up for having one account with multiple characters. This was added into the game when it first started. But we haven't gotten around to actually implementing it. So you would log in with the same email, and then you would have all your characters at the character select screen. And especially now that we're going to be adding mage, this is going to be something that we really want to look into, um, because yeah, I can totally also see myself creating a mage character just because I don't want to like mix it up. You'll be able to mix it up because we don't want any class locking. We want to give you the freedom of saying, all right, today I feel like a mage, I'm going out as a mage, and tomorrow my team needs a good tank, so I'm going as a tank. Like we want to give you the versatility. Um, but I could completely understand, like at some point you may want to be a mage and just be a mage, nothing else, and focus on that for your character. So you'll be free to do that. Um, let's say there's a new set in the Fire Temple. Instead of 50 attack, 100 strength, and 50 def like Phantom Gear, making a set of 150 strength, 50 attack. Yeah, that is something we really want to do with the introduction of these debuffs. We have more flexibility for that as well. For example, take the fact that you'll be able to have burn defense because burn is going to be something that will be a new thing you can inflict, and there will be burn magic like fire magic. So you'll find sets that will have better resistance against certain types too. So for example, we could have a phantom set that's really good against like melee, but maybe the phantom set at some point will have like a big negative bonus against fire magic, so that if you're going to do a fire boss, you wouldn't be smart if you brought your phantom set. Instead, maybe you wanted to bring something that instead had more fire bonus but was weaker in general. Something like that. What's the first update you plan on putting out next? Firaxis. Firaxis is our first next update. It's we're very far with it. It's one of the things I don't want to show yet, because if I'm going to show something, it's going to be the whole thing. Like I can't just like show part of it. But we've made a very big map. We've been working on two new bosses, two new armor sets, and one armor set is going to be slightly lower than the other. Phyrexis is going to be featuring this new exciting thing. Well, I think it's pretty exciting, where you can have boss tasks. That will be a new task board. Let's see, I can tease this one. Hang on, let me just I'm turning off my. Oh, that was me. Yeah, I'm turning off that, and I'm going over to my DMs. Mm. Actually, let me get a few things going here. I'll have a few things to tease. That's gonna be fun. This, and I'm going to set up this. Sorry, I know that my screen isn't visible. I'm just collecting a few images to show in a bit. This. Um, Let me see. Yes, there it is. I was looking for this. All right, cool. I can enable it again. All right, so this is what I was going to show you. This is the boss task board, and this will be your new task board. You'll find only on Veraxis, so you're going to have to be able to get into Veraxis to find it. This task board gives you boss tasks, and boss tasks are pretty much just like normal tasks, but for bosses. So you're going to get like kill 10 ice demons, kill 20 rock fiends, kill 100 Thrax's boss name here, and you'll get like significantly higher rewards as well as like higher experience. So for those that enjoy boss grinding, this will be a good way to revisit old bosses, making them fun again, and to give yourself a bit of a challenge in seeing how many of those bosses you can kill. Um, so the second thing, I have to think what is in this tab. Okay, I'm just going to make an assumption. If it's wrong, I'm going to look real funny. But we have something really exciting too. Like we know a lot of you guys are into scaling. Some of you are not into scaling at all, and would much rather shove an axe up your ass than put it in your hand and start chopping trees. But it is something we have been working on. Woodcutting is finished. We have previously introduced trees to the game. You've definitely seen all the beautiful trees around the whole world. Those were there for a reason. Like we've added all different types of trees, and some of them weren't even in game yet. But you're getting woodcutting soon. You're not getting it for access yet. It's going to be after that, because we learned from what happened with mining. When we released mining, we were like, oh, people are gonna love this because it's mining, and they'll be like enjoying a chill activity. And the next question I was getting was like, what do we do with yours? I'm like, well, you save them for later. But that apparently wasn't the answer they were expecting, because people were also expecting they could use yours right away. And I'm making sure that that mistake isn't going to be here again. So we're waiting with wood cutting. Unfortunately, I know that some of you might be very excited to start chopping trees, but we're waiting with it until we have a purpose for it. We know a purpose for it. We know what we want to do with it, but it's gonna be taking some time. So yes, we have wood cutting. It's done. You can cut trees, but it's not ready to be released until we find a very nice way to use your logs, because it's going to be a disbalance in the economy on launch otherwise. Yeah, that's a very good one there, Kat. Wood cutting is indeed going to be used in making staves, bows, and some kind of other tools as well. So you'll have a skill that lets you make staves, um, and bows as well, from different kinds of woods. as well as having ingredients for alchemy from trees. For example, we have olive trees. You might be able to, I don't know, use the olives and make some kind of like real nasty Italian potion that you can throw at your enemy and he'll turn into Mario or whatever. Um, but yeah, we're gonna release it as soon as we have something more than just wood cutting. Because I love to cut trees. I think it's fucking really chill. But there's more to it than just releasing skill, and that's something we learned from last time. Um, wood cutting and mining to make a super huge guild base. Yeah, guilds are actually something that I am very excited about, but it will also be a lot of work. But skills will not be forgotten when we introduce wood cutting. So, with that said, I have another thing to tease to you, but you're gonna have a similar kind of thing that I'm going to be telling you. It's not here yet, even though it's almost here yet. Um, might have guessed, it's gonna be fishing. We've been working on fishing as well. We have a set of beautiful fish ready for you to catch, but here the same thing is we want to first have either cooking or something or have a way in alchemy before we're releasing this to avoid a lot of fish entering the market, prices dropping down, people not knowing what to do with it, whatever, whatever. But these are two things that I'm personally excited about to release, both woodcutting and fishing, because I just like peaceful activities in games as much as I like to battle. Um, I probably put something else on the empty tab here. No, I didn't. Um, Anyway, those were some of the skills that we wanted to tease. Now, I have a huge list of questions that people ask. I'm going to be like kind of rushing through them. I don't want to keep it too long, but I'm going to give you an answer to all of those questions that were asked in the Discord. Um, I'm going per person because I put them in that order and that's easiest for me right now. So first of all, is there any plans for mage range class? Pretty much answer that. I gave you an answer for mage, but range is going to be following that obviously. We're trying to find ways to introduce them in a way that's fun, making it require skill. So it's tricky to get everything the way we want it. But rest assured, it's on its way. Um, Cooking, yeah, cooking is gonna be there too. The question to me I didn't ask. Yeah, I'm retarded. I probably do stuff like that. Um, but yeah, you asked that question. I don't know who you are, but you asked the question that you didn't ask. That's good for now. Have you considered any other skills than which are shown in the client? I already kind of gave an answer to that. Cooking will be added, fishing. Um, and making staves and bows is one that isn't in the client yet. So that is one of them. And we also have been thinking about what was I going to say? Actually, no, I don't want to tease that. No, all right. So yeah, there is another thing, another skill that we've been thinking about, but I don't want to tease that yet. I'm just going to leave that as is. You've had a couple skills already. Um, are the chances of being a Cyber Monday short sale? I'm not a big fan of these flash sales. We did a sale, and that was pretty much our first sale ever with our anniversary event, or I think we also did one with Halloween. Maybe, maybe not. I can't remember. Probably no. Anyways, I'm not a big fan of like doing these flash sales. But if there's enough demand for having like a reduction on Cyber Monday, I'll do it. Depends a bit on how many people would want that. Um, there were socks with individual toe spots. Right now, one of my socks actually has a hole in it, so it gets close to what you're asking. But I don't have those like real fancy like glove kind of socks, unfortunately. Um, yeah, you're gonna have to tell me how to pronounce your name, Luoki, because yeah, I'm no way in hell going to be able to pronounce your name. But hi. Um, Let me see. If you decided to add major into the game, do you think it'll likely be a new character entirely? No, we don't want to do any class locking. Class locking is something that I find personally very annoying because at some point you may just want to like do something else. And if you have to make a new character just to be able to experience the content you've already been experiencing and have to like go through all the steps again, I feel like that's like going to be a bit more repetitive than you may want at that stage in the game. Um, are there any plans to be able to rearrange the display? Yes, this is a very big thing that we've been working on. Um, we've been experimenting a lot with the user interface lately, and one of the things that we want to go towards is having a completely customizable user interface. Like you guys have already been saying, like, all right, let us customize the placement of that quick access bar. Very good point. You will be able to position that quick access bar, but it will be a step up for us to like let you customize everything. This includes scale. You'll be able to downsize and upsize the size of your user interface. Um, you'll be able to change positions. You'll be able to change even like arrangements in terms of like your quick access bar. So, for example, putting a potion there, then putting a piece of equipment there, for example, or locking it to a specific slot in your inventory. Um, Low key. Ah, I see. Okay, that's creative. Yeah, I'm just gonna stick to low key then. Um, but yeah, we'll definitely add that as a way to this will be a setting. We're working on a settings interface, like for example, so you can mute the sound effects or mute the music or mute both or change volumes. But included in that, somewhere down the road, this won't be in the next update. We definitely will be adding that kind of like customizability to the user interface because I personally love for the quick potions to be on the right side. A lot of people prefer it on the left side. And there is going to be a point where if you're a mage, you're going to need like 10 slots because when you're a mage and you have these certain abilities to take care of your team and you only have 3 slots, how are you going to like ever take care of your team? Like someone's going to get poisoned and you're like, oh fuck, I have to open my inventory. And you open your inventory and by the time your friends are already decaying, you know. So we probably will want to add support for making the quick access bar above the chat, like in the bottom, with 10 slots or something. So you can be like, all right, my friend's dying for poison. I just quickly cast poison cure or whatever. Quickly change your staff because the boss changes its mechanics or whatever. You know, just something that allows for more complex gameplay down the road. Because even though we love the fact that the game is simple, it should be simple to play, hard to master, and the hard to master thing, it's just not there right now. Um, yes, so potion location. Any faraway plans to add some sort of quest? Yes. However, this is something that will take a while. And the reason for that is we have been saying that we wanted to rework the map before we're going to introduce any kind of story. Right now, the map has just been like when I released this game like a year ago, the map was legit just like 16 squares wide. There were 60 squares. There was a spawn position, and you could walk to the right, and you could kill a couple bats, and that was it. And then eventually we started adding like different parts, but never really keeping in mind the way we actually wanted things to look. One of the things we really want, like actually want very bad, is some kind of like town, like with houses, with shops, with a market square. You know, something that will make you feel like, all right, this is actually a civilization where we're playing, and instead of just some kind of like half dead country north of Ireland or whatever. Um, um, so yeah, that's like something we'll do before introducing quests because quests are very location based. When you're introducing quests, you're going to be like, all right, my cousin lives in this kind of town. Can you bring this to him? But if we like rework the whole world, all of our quests will be void. So that will be something that we will only be doing after the whole rework. And the whole rework is going to be somewhere where we have like fucking $5,000 to blow on a whole rework. Because yeah, it's gonna be extremely expensive to create like whole towns and mountains and paths and stuff like that. But it will come. It will come. Hopefully, no, it will come. Um, What is the add button when clicking on someone? When you press add, the player on the other hand, on the other side of the game, basically gets this like rope falling down and it like ties around him and then gets absorbed. No, I'm joking. The add button is obvious for adding a friend to your friend list, but we don't have a friend list yet. So the button is there as a placeholder, but that will be your add friend button in the future. Will whispers ever be added for the chat? Yes, obviously you'll be able to whisper soon. As part of like the whole thing I spoke about with the social thing, where I want to introduce like proper DMing, proper adding players, even clans and stuff like that. So you'll see that in the near future too. Um, when do get pets get passive abilities? We don't know yet. We don't even know if they ever will, um, because it hasn't been one of these things that we feel we should give priority to, because even though pets are cool, they've always been this kind of like little extra. We didn't want to make it so pets auto loot stuff, because like we're gonna have a huge influx of bots, because if you can auto loot, you don't even have to set up your clicker to auto click on the tap button anymore. You can just keep attacking. So pets are a bit of like our side thing for now. They will get attention at some point again, but we're happy with the way pets are as is right now. Until we get some kind of good idea or some kind of way to like make it more interesting. Would you ever consider somewhat of a rating pairs of arrows? Yes. This was originally going to be one of the prime key features of this update. Unfortunately, this was a bit too much just for this update, but we initially had the idea to make the biggest and strongest boss of Firaxis be a raid. So you would have a randomly generated dungeon, and you would only be able to do it with a team, like form a party. You would be joining it. Anyone who wipes out wouldn't be able to get back, so you would actually have to bring your A game to it. And while we made the whole support for creating instances, because we added engine support for instances, we didn't really get around to like making the actual thing work like that. And the whole reason why we introduced the gap update was because were already taking too long. So we had to make a stance and think like, all right, okay, it won't be possible for this one. We're going to postpone that stuff and have a different boss, be an instance boss. But it will be coming. We do want to like spice up the whole raid aspect of the game a lot more. Um, yes, this is the same question. All right, on to Meatloaf. I'm sorry it's taking long. I thought I would get through these a bit quicker. I'm gonna take a few questions from the. Let me see. You seem to be working on a lot of different things for such as a small team, and you want to add a ton of different things. What aspects of the game are the highest, lowest priorities? Um, the highest priorities for us right now are adding different uh, combat modes. So magic and range, those are like top priorities. And PvP. It's something I haven't spoken about because it was here on the list. Wanted to get to that later, so I'll leave that for now. But PvP also is relatively high on the list. With that said, what specific need do you have to get production going at optimal speed? I know you said you are currently held about artwork. What specifically assists you? It is incredibly fucking hard to find artists. It is seriously something that I didn't think would be this hard, because everyone has lives. And even though we have a lot of good people around us and a lot of people that are willing to make art for us, um, it honestly just seems to boil down to luck. Like some people just get occupied for like months on end. Some people find 1 hour a week to work, and our style apparently is so particular that a lot of artists just can't get it done. Like we have been trying, I think, like 20 artists over the past 2 or 3 months, and nobody seems to be able to get the style down aside from a few. Um, so that is like a very big problem. Like I keep posting jobs on Upwork, I keep like talking to people on like Pixel forums, but every discussion pretty much ends with me saying, "All right, it's not good enough for our game because I don't want to like settle with something mediocre." or them saying this is a style I can't do. So that is like it's very annoying to be constantly stuck in like trying to find people to speed up our art process. Um, do you need more money? And if you got more money, how would you use it? We don't in particularly need more money. Like even though it would help if I was loaded, like if I was the kind who would be driving a Lamborghini, then I could make like a public job post to hire a pixel artist, get some kind of recruiting board to like find the exact person I need. Um, but that is like completely different ball game. In our ball game, there we just have to be lucky finding the right people, and if we find the right people, they also need to have enough time. So we have to do with what we have, and that is pretty much that's our restriction. We have to deal with that for I don't know how long. Um, I may be willing to throw my money for specific goals. Even though I do appreciate that, we don't really have like any specific goals or things that we would put the money towards. It's pretty much like I said, we're just very locked with how many hours we can get from the artists and how many artists we can find. So I wish it was different, but that is like a big thing holding us back. How many artists do we have? Fuck, I think like six at this point. No, less. Lucinio is no longer here. Shade recently got back because he was busy with school. Hedgie is very busy too, but he's here. And then we have one that I recruited but left the day after. We have one from Russia who works small hours too. Then we have one more who's also busy with school, so something like five or six. But everyone's just busy. I don't seem to be able to get anyone's time really because yeah, everyone has their own lives, um, which makes sense. But it does get frustrating at times. Exactly how big is the next update going to be? Fuck, I need to charge my phone. Exactly how big is the next update going to be? It is pretty big. We're introducing two new armor sets that are obviously stronger than the Phantom Spectral sets right now. We're introducing two new bosses. We're introducing a pretty big land mass along with like four or five new creatures. We're introducing that boss task board. We're introducing status effects as well as reworked icons and colors for damage numbers. Um, and I think that was pretty much it for now. Yeah. So in terms of like how big it is, I get that question a lot, and no, I'm joking. It it is it is bigger than the last update with the Ice Demon, but it isn't that much bigger. Because like I really hoped that we would be able to produce more of an outcome with this update. Unfortunately, there's only so much we can do with the restrictions that we have. But we're still pretty stoked for it. Like for example, the new armor sets just look fantastic. They're made by Shade. They absolutely look amazing. The new weapons are cool, and the bosses just will be a fun fight as well. The new area will be fun to explore, and it will be obviously home to the new boss task board. So it's going to be about the same size as the whole Phantom Spectral update. Plus a few extra features, a few things that we've reworked and stuff like that. Um, are there any plans on something in the works that goes along with skills? Yes. I spoke about that previously. I feel like skills need to have complementary skills. Um, but as you heard, woodcutting will provide wood for people who craft staves, and those staves will be for magic. And we won't be making all those staves dropped. So it will be like a kind of like an economy. At some point, we're probably gonna like introduce things that you'll only be able to craft and only be able to smith that are decently high level. For example, with Firaxis, the armor that you get is armor that you'll have to smith. So for those of you who don't have a smithing level, yeah, you might want to start training your smithing because you'll need a serious smithing level to be able to smith the gear. Um, Spoiler alert. No, you'll be able to get a head start if you start training Smithy now. But that is like a bit of the concept that we want to introduce more, needing skills to do particular things that relate to combat. So yeah, with for Access update, even though you can get all the stuff, like you can trade it to someone or you do it yourself, but either way, someone has the level to make that gear. And in the future, there may even be points where you need to have that requirement because the item will be tradable. So that's how we want to make skills more not required, um, but at the same time, yeah, required. Skills will be part of like your whole character, and if you want to be like self-sufficient, you're gonna have to start training those. Um, any thoughts on maybe being able to pick and choose if you want to hotkey? Yes. The PC client, which I assume is oh, you probably mean the items in your access bar, right? So yes, I spoke about that before. We want to make that completely customizable, so you can like input what kind of potions or even like items that you want to put there. For example, if you want to put like a teleport scroll there, you can, or if you want to put like a special um, piece of equipment that you often find yourself switching to. I don't know in what case yet. Um, but you can also do that. When's the move button coming back in my life? That's a very good one. I hope soon. I haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but I know that a lot of people have been both toxic and very spammy in games. So I'll try to remember putting that on my list because I actually sort of forgot about that. Uh, this is the question that I put twice. Will mounts be a thing in the near future? No. We don't really have any plans for mounts right now, and we feel that the game is in too early stages to add mounts. Sorry, maybe down the line. Will there be new skins for Christmas? Yes. Yes. Christmas is going to be good. We have a lot of art made for Christmas already, so Christmas is going to be fun. How do you personally feel about PvP? So this is an important thing, and I postponed explaining this on the question that was asked before. PvP is something that we have been awful at. Like we introduced PvP at one point in the game and it was never given any attention. Where now PvP is completely disbalanced, not fun. There is no risk reward. There is no incentive to PvP. There is no penalty to PvPing. Innocent players, this is something that we want to like rework from the ground up because we feel that it has extreme shortcomings in what we've done. For example, PvP should be something that you can like really enjoy on its own. PvP is a way to test how good you are at combat. PvP is a way to be able to put those pieces of equipment that you got to use. PvP is a way to like show who has more testosterone than the other player. Um, and we have not really been paying attention to it at all. So I feel like PvP will be something that at one point we're gonna sit down and we're gonna like make a huge document on like reworking PvP to make sure that it is enjoyable. Because right now it's ass. Like I completely I'm down to admit that because it just isn't enjoyable. So it's something that we really want to like rework. We don't feel yeah, we feel a specific way about PvP and it's not how we want it. It's ass. It's just bad. So it will be completely reworked at some point. Will the level cap be increasing with the new few updates? We may increase it by 5 with the Firaxis update. We may. I'm not making any promises here because it's one of these things where we want to take that slow. We don't want to keep like raising the bar every time because if we didn't have a level cap, I think that a former player called what's his in-game name right now? His last name was Vengeance, I think. Um, but he wanted to have us remove the level cap. He would probably be like level 130 right now, level 140. Um, and even though it would be cool to have that, if we don't have a level restriction, someone is going to be able to keep getting stat points, get some incredibly strong build. Um, and the worst of all, nobody would ever catch up because not everybody has that kind of time, and we're still a young game, which is why the level cap is here. So we will keep increasing it, but only in very small steps. Like maybe at some point we're going to say like, all right, level cap's good for now. We're just going to keep like scaling in different ways instead of just basic speed. I'm gonna take my phone just in case I missed questions. I probably missed like a lot. Oh fuck yeah, I missed a lot. I'm so sorry. I had to charge my phone. Um, is the art all done for the next update? Yes, all the art is done. So we're just pretty much like busting out the code right now. Armor sets, can you say the level on those or what to keep it on a download? I can say it, but we haven't decided yet because we're still like working with the numbers of the stats for the armor sets. So even though I could say it, I don't know precisely because we have two sets and we want to make it something good. But like I said earlier, we don't want to like turn these into sets that are going to be like completely annihilating all the previous sets that we had and suddenly make it like this one item that everybody goes crazy about for the next like 6 months. So we're trying to fine tune this, and it's taken like a lot of time because it's harder than we thought. It's incredibly hard to fine tune something in a way where you don't devalue all the hours that someone spent on getting their Phantom sets. Um, will there be a new ore? I forgot to tease this. Yes, there will be a new ore, there will be a new metal bar, and there will be a new set of armor. There will be three sets of armor. So not just two. Two are going to be obtainable from the boss, and one set will be craftable. So I forgot to tease about that because that's actually something I wanted to mention. So thank you for mentioning that. Yes, you'll be able to mine something new, but you're going to be required to be able to enter Raxus. And Raxus will be level 60 or 70. I don't know what that started on. 60 or 70. You're going to be needing level 60 or 70 base, like your character level to enter it. Um, you'll be able to mine a new ore. You'll be able to smith that new ore, and you'll have like pretty cool looking new outfit that we were working on today. I don't want to show it off yet because I think the surprise of seeing the first player with the outfit is just going to be too good, which is also the reason I'm not teasing the other two armor sets. But you'll like it. I'm pretty sure you'll like that new tier. So thank you for bringing it up. Otherwise, I would have forgotten. Um, let me see. The question 90. Open my thing. I was hoping you would maybe take my suggestion of getting a special material from meteorites and require high mining to upgrade gear. We actually have. Um, but I'm not going to spoil the hows and whys for that yet. But there's something complementary coming. Um, just changing the way that mining will work slightly, very slightly. It's not going to be like a very big change, but there will be some system to this close to what you're saying. There will be something extra you get from a specific thing that will contribute to something at higher levels. That's all I wanna tease right now. Um, Cosmetic only mounts with no bonuses. Maybe down the road. I just feel like right now our if everybody is going to be sitting on mounts at spawn, you won't ever be able to see the shop. Right now, we already have the problem with clutter. I feel like that is something we can do, but after we have like a massive town square with like lots of places to hang out, so that if everybody like sits on their mount at spawn, you're not going to be like trying to find your bank behind someone's mount. You know what I mean? Because like mounts obviously will take up more space. We already have more clutter on the screen that we really wanted. So uh, are you the only developer? Yes, I know. I will be announcing another developer soon. This a friend of mine who's been working with us for the past week or so. So there is a we. I always speak and have spoken about we because I feel like we're a collective. We're doing this together. Me, the mods, the artists. Like even though I was the only one writing code up to this point. I feel like we've always been a we because we're a team. Like even though the mods don't write anything in terms of code or don't make any artwork, I still feel that they are part of what makes us us. So that is why I say we. But yes, there will be some announcement regarding a new developer soon. Also, does the girlfriend work on a game with you, or does she just hang out a bit? She barely hangs out anymore, so that it's a no to both. She used to be really into the game, and now she isn't anymore. So no, and even though she always kept saying that she wanted to contribute, she isn't artsy, and neither am I. So uh, she's busy doing her own stuff right now. So, but she's not even hanging out anymore. I haven't seen her in like weeks. I think she was last online with the holiday event. I'm still salty over that. Well, we have bosses that take more than one person to beat. Yes, you'll see bosses that will take more than 60 people to beat. Um, Not literally, you won't need to have a party of 60, but I do like the idea of having bosses that take significantly more people than just the party size. For example, in World of Warcraft, they have these massive raids where people come in with like 20 people or even more. And I think that just looks fantastic because you have to be so coordinated. And these people like they come up with like these extreme plans on how doing it, like their world first, like the way Method does these things. They don't even show the way they take on the new bosses when they come out in patches. And I think that just looks sick. And I don't know how far we can get with adding that kind of like dynamic stuff where you have to have like serious team play, instance bosses and stuff like that. But I feel like the sky is the limit, and we've been already achieving a lot for such a small army. So who knows? Maybe at some point we will have 25 player bosses or big raids or whatever, you know? You never know. Um, World bosses. Well, yeah, you don't actually have to be social because you know you can try it alone. And I would probably do the same thing because I'm not a very social player. I was playing Destiny just before this stream, and it reminds me how bad it is how bad it is to be a social player in MMORPG games because I was trying to do this thing with other players, and I just want to do my own thing, so I know how that feels. But at the same time, it's really good for a game when you try to bring people together, because A, you get more friendships, B, you get clans that will form, and C, most of the time it's more exciting. Like if I game with players I know, like if I team up with them, I have a better time than when I'm alone. I'm just not that good at just like being social in MMORPG games with random people that I get partied up with. So I feel you there. How many party hats did I get? I think I have like 36. I banked an inventory full, but obviously I can add more party hats when I want. Um, Last question: what do you think we should expect the update? I completely forgot to answer this question because I actually realized that this would be the most asked question. We had aimed for next week. And it won't be next week Monday, it won't be next week Tuesday, but we aimed somewhere late next week. We aimed. Please don't quote me. Please don't glue me to what I'm saying right now because we don't know what things are going to come up and we don't know when we are happy with how things work out. But yeah, schedules next week. We're like touching up things, finishing the mapping, adding the stats and stuff like that, and finishing up mechanics. But don't pin me to that. Things might play out differently. We might have to wait another week. I don't know, but that is what we aim for. All right. So, should we stash ice crystals and other items just in case? Yeah, you might want to keep collecting it because, like, you've already seen we're introducing alchemy, we're introducing magic, we're introducing status effects and frost. So, one and one equals. Any task board upgrades is at a finished product for now. That's your answer. Task board upgrades. Boss skilled, yeah, well, you guessed it, you called it, exactly. Mods always seem to be lurking. How does one apply to be a mod? I actually handpick everyone in the staff team. And the reason for that is because I'm always observing how the game goes. I'm always observing what people do. And the first mod that I ever picked was Almighty, and I pretty much just straight up asked him like, "Do you want to be a mod?" Because he was one of the most active players. He was one of the most knowledgeable players, and that is something I always kept sticking to because I feel that I should be in a position where I know enough about my players that I also am able to pick the mods. If I can't pick my mods, that means I'm too detached from my own game, and that means that I should be moving closer. Um, so for me, it's also a reality check that like we recently promoted Skid Scare, which has been a very good pick. Like we have an excellent moderation team because these people are all volunteers. Like sometimes people forget that these people are just like you and me. They have lives, they have jobs, uh, they have things around this whole game. They've been doing an excellent job. Like I'm very happy with the team we have. Um, but that is a result of being in touch with the people and like knowing who would make a good fit. For that reason, we don't support. We don't have a way to apply for a mod. We don't have lists you can apply to saying, hey, if you ever need anyone, because this is something that goes this goes from the heart. This is something that is like a feeling. You see someone playing for so many hours, you see them help people. Um, you see the way they interact with others, you see their personality, and it takes long. Like most of the players that we recruited had like 500, 600 hours of game time, some even more before they actually made it to the team. Um, so yeah, um, will you ever release the actual drop rate of items? Um, as a very bad singer once said, "Never say never." Um, but we don't really plan to in the near future. Reasons for that: if we say, "Yo, this item is 1 in 100," and someone kills 100 and they ain't getting the item, they're gonna be complaining because the item is 1 in 100, especially if it's gonna say so on a wiki. Um, People unfortunately aren't smart enough to grasp the concept of RNG. So if we were to officially state, "Yo, this item is 1 in 100," and he kills 101, we're going to have a support question saying, "Hey, I killed 100 of this creature and it didn't drop. Your game's bugged, it's broken, it's beyond playable, fix it." Um, that's the reason why we won't do it. Can we have a big drop party and you log into mining's account and drop by stuff? I'm not supposed to be discussing people's bans and stuff like that, but the whole money stuff goes back a bit further. It's yeah. I'm not gonna be discussing that, but uh, him and his brother, which is him as well, posted a review on the Play Store today too, with like this big wall of text. It's just yeah. I'm not gonna go into that too deep, but thanks for bringing that up. Will my dad ever come back? I am back. What do you mean? I think Lewoki left. I'm still gonna be answering a question, so she can watch the stream later. Will we get the option to move potions? I already answered that. Is it possible for Wikians to get a dump of new info with each update, just like raw info about the new added stuff? Yes, I know you're not watching right now. But when you're watching, I will DM you this. Um, we have been working on making ways to give you guys, the Wikians, more direct access to specific information about the game, whether that is NPC stats, whether that is estimated drop rates, so you know the categories that we have right now. Um, uh, so yeah, that is something that we will supply you guys because we appreciate what you're doing, but we also understand that there are certain things you won't know without our help. Will we see different options for character skins in the future? Yes, you will see options for having male, female, all kinds of skin colors. We already had concepts a while ago. It just takes some time before we can actually implement these. Admittedly, they are not that high on our list. I know that sounds disrespectful, and we don't intend to be disrespectful with that. We know that it's important to also have female appearances and different skin tones. It's just like we're a very small army, and things like these take up more time than you would think, both development wise and artist wise. But yeah, we do want to have like different hairstyles. We want to have different hair colors, different skin colors, and support for females too. Um, Although I think females will take the longest because I worry, and I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure how well we would be able to do this, but I think we will have to redo every piece of armor for females because they have different body proportions. Um, so might take a bit before we actually get there. I'm gonna let everyone in the game know I'm a stupid Korea boy. Besides having an idol in my profile picture, I want to get maximum amount of judgment. Um, you can change your name in game, I guess. You can change your name to Koreaboo, which might be available. I'll check it for you right now if Koreaboo is still available. Yeah, Koreaboo is still available, so if you want, you can change your name to that, and then you know everyone that you're a stupid Koreaboo. If I'm playing the game using mobile data, how much does it use? Will my bank account cry if I play in a bus? It used to be really bad. Back when the game first came out, it was like a couple megabytes per minute, and I think it's lower right now. I'll give it a shot for you, and I'll let you know in a minute. Um, just open up my game. And obviously, it depends on what you're doing. Some things are more intensive than others. It depends on how many players are online because more players need to be synchronized and stuff like that. But it shouldn't be that bad. And actually, we haven't heard anyone complain about mobile data use as much as we had in the beginning. In the beginning, people would complain a lot um, about their mobile data usage, but we haven't heard anything like that in a long time, if at all, since that update. But I'll keep my phone here and I'll let it play for 2 minutes and then we'll know. I was wondering the other day how old most people are that play this game. I think most people are two age categories, 20 years and older, and about 12. I think those are the only age categories we have. No, no, I'm joking because we obviously have people from all ages, but that seems to be the majority. Like we don't seem to have many people in between around like age like 16 or 15. We seem to have a lot of like younger players around like 12, 11, 12, 13, and then a lot that are older than 18. So that middle demographic isn't really that frequently seen. Um, so with that, I guess we've reached the end of the stream. Unless you guys have some more questions, I'm down to ask some more since I'm waiting for the game to use some of my data. Um, will smithing and mining 75 be enough for the future? For Veraxis? Yeah. For Veraxis is going to be enough. For the future, I don't know. He may at some point introduce new things, such as the desert. The desert is actually my favorite update. We have something incredibly exciting, and I'm going to turn my display capture off because I'm going to get you something new to tease. I'm going to get you something new to tease. Let me just make sure that everything else is closed. And all right, I hope you're ready. This is something that we've been working on. This is a fire elemental. This is an upcoming boss for the desert. And he's going to be carrying a beautiful staff, as you see, and the staff can be yours. Sign up today. No, this is uh, this is going to be a new creature that will be in the desert. He'll be getting his own room. Taking him out is going to be a challenge, but this will be one of the droppers of one of the new staves. Like mage equipment will obviously also been dropped from monsters, and this will be one of the yeah, one of the creatures that give you mage gear. Um, we have another one, but it isn't final enough to say that it's final. But I mean, like, I'll give you guys another preview of that. Oh, that was me. Did I turn it off? Yeah. Okay. So that's one. Um, so open this. Go back here. This. So the bottom one, the top one is the side view and the back view of the one you just saw. Um, this is staff animated when wielding it as well. We could probably. We don't have that many frames for player animation, but we could probably do that. The bottom one is a water elemental, as you might have guessed. I'm not exactly sure if I'm happy with the final outcome of it. But it does look good, and I think it may get like a few final touches to make it look a bit less like a female, because it's a bit too dominant. It looks too much like a human person, where I want it to be more like an elemental. Um, but yeah, she is going to be the water elemental, and will have her respective drops and combat mechanics, obviously. Um, so yeah, those are two new things that we will see in the desert. It will take a bit before we get there, but we have a lot of things ready for the desert. Some of you have already noticed that we had the scorpion in the desert right around the border. You could see it. Um, Two new pets are ready for the desert. Uh, Two new creatures. Three new creatures. One new boss, or maybe two new bosses, in fact, already. So the desert is also going to be an interesting update. And here's the thing about the recent months, because like it may seem that we've been doing fuck all, but because it's so hard for us to get art going, we keep working on where we get art supplied for. So for example, if we get a new chunk of art for the desert made, then we can jump on that and like work on that while other things are still being supplied. And that's a bit like the way we've been working right now. That's why we have woodcutting, which is done, fishing, which is almost done, Veraxis, which is going to be released soon, the desert, which is also close to being released soon. So we have a lot of like these projects that are in the works, and all are getting very very close to completion. And at the same time, we're also working on the Christmas update. So it's like a lot of things simultaneously that will that will probably all be released in December or something like that. So it might be a really good month ahead. I'm not going to make any promises regarding how much of the content will come out in December, because I'm also going away for a week just to get some headspace away from the game. But we'll definitely have a Christmas update. We'll have Firaxis in December. We'll have maybe the desert in December. So I don't know about you guys, but if you can take some weeks off of work, I would do it in December. Can you make it so when you drop an item, it is not visible to other players for at least 30 seconds? I've been saving drops and I would like to do drop bodies similar to RuneScape. Ah, um, yes. Yes, I think that might actually be a good idea. The reason why we initially made it faded instead of fully invisible is for when you're doing bosses together and someone gets a drop. It would be cool to see like, oh shit, someone got like Phantom Hound, but it's not mine. That sucks, but at least someone got it. But I guess for items that you drop from your inventory, it could be different. Because I think it's cool to keep it that way for bosses that you can faintly see what it is. For drop parties, I understand it might be cooler to have the suspense of an item popping up, and whoever gets there first can take it. Um, Kai, I am seriously disappointed that you only made it to the end of the stream. You didn't text me. I announced it like 3 times in Discord. I made 3 announcements. How am I the motherfucker if you missed the 3 announcements? That's terrible. But anyways, I'll probably still be here for like a few more minutes, maybe 30. I don't know. If you guys have more questions, I'm down to answer them until the lady comes home and I have to shut off my computer and go to bed. Um, oh, you're working. Right, you're working. Um, so yeah, if there are any more questions, shoot them my way. I mean, we're live right now. I'll just answer whatever I have. In the meantime, I'm gonna search for some more things to tease. Oh, my desktop was already off. I guess that's a hint. Mm. So we have a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff that isn't ready to be released yet, but is still definitely worth showing. Because, like I said, we have a lot of like simultaneous projects going. Reason for that is that it is easier to let artists work on their own respective pieces than trying to get someone who is right now away, like get his work taken over by someone else who may not have any idea what their real intention was. So like I said, whenever things become available, they start working on it. Um, Sometimes they get caught up in work and something like gets delayed for a longer time. And that's why we also don't really make any like estimates about release dates until we're sure that we have the art for it, because we can't look into their personal lives. We don't know when they're going to be ready next. So yeah, so I just purchased a capture card yesterday to start streaming, making YouTube videos for Koa. I'll definitely be doing giveaways and job parties. That's awesome, man. More people should be doing videos of coronavirus. It's great for growing the game. And from what I heard, everyone who makes videos has been getting very positive response to the videos. So apparently, the game lends itself well for making content. I don't know if this has been asked. Will there be a market system integrated in the game? Yes. This is like a big yes. We have been brainstorming this a lot already. A market system similar to the Grounded Change and to the auction house in World of Warcraft. So what we really want to do is get to a point where the merchant at home will only sell a couple basic things. All the other things will be player supplied. So you get this market where people basically can sell everything they have, and we'll give people like, I don't know, like 10 slots to sell things, so that you can just be like, all right, I'm making these 200 pickaxes, and you put them up, but they will eventually get sold because people at some point will start the game. They'll be like, oh, I need a pickaxe. They'll buy a pickaxe. Someone else will have a lower price, so at some point you're going to be like, all right, I need to drop my price, and then you get this healthy economy because people will buy whatever is lowest, similar to in the real world. We won't see people like dumping their items for ridiculous prices because you have competition, and that is why we don't want to go to do what RuneScape does. They hide the office. We want to make it public. We want to show you, all right, these are the offers you can buy from, similar to World of Warcraft, because then you know what your competition is going to be. Like if you're trying to sell something, you want to be below it, and it's like that in the real world too. And it is very important for. Hang on, I got to charge my phone. It's very important for a market for people to know what their competitors sell at, because then you know how to undercut. And it's important. If we don't do that, people are just going to be like sticking around the same price for however long, not knowing that they're the most expensive one. And the only thing that will happen is prices just will be very high. But this is something that we're really excited about. We wanted to call the Global Trade Network. It will be something you do right from home. You have this like list of all your offers. You can browse items and see other people's offers. It will be synchronized across worlds, so you can do it. You can buy something from someone who's in World Two or offline. So your offers will persist even if you're offline. You don't have to be online for this to work. And this is what just will take care of things like making sure that everything's up to date, making sure that you can't buy things that already were bought. Um, that is basically like going to be our version. It looks very similar to Auction House, but that's just simply because the Auction House of World of Warcraft and Diablo just work very well. Seeing what other people sell it for and knowing what your competitors sell it for is really important for a good market. And on Skip, you get a lot of people that do price flip and merchant stuff like that. And while it's fun and you can make profit off of it, people have been scammed a lot of times there, even including me. Um, but that's the vision we have for adding that. And I'm excited for that. I think it's an exciting piece to add. Um, Mainly because right now trading is very cumbersome. We don't have a trading page. We only have a channel where you can post your trades. So it's very very manual, very hard to buy things, especially as new players. Um, and we don't have chat channels either, so it gets messy. So that will be something that really will spice up the way trading works. Hang on, get my phone. Let's see. I think I caught what you were saying with the meteorites. What smithing level do you think would be good? I didn't say anything about the meteorites, but um, you should train your smithing to as high as possible. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, I don't wanna say anything specific because that's gonna give you guys too much of an edge above other people. But you might want to train it to at least at least like 60 or something. Um, Taz and I are working on rare drop videos. Yeah, that's awesome. Taz has been making a lot of videos. So that's cool. Um, let me see. Let me see. Did you get a read on the data question? I think my fucking game timed out because I forgot about it. Yeah. But let me see if we have any data available. I'll come back here so you can't stop staring at my ass. Data data usage. Um, so the data usage. Well, it's not high up there. Yeah, so in the time where it was using data, it used 1.3 megabytes, and I was standing at spawn on world one. So not a lot. I know that walking from region to region is a bit more data heavy than staying in the same region because it has to load the regions from the server. But yeah, 1.36 megabytes over the time I was playing. Um, or actually, this has been in total, so I don't even accurately know how much of that was just now, but I'm thinking like a megabyte per 5 minutes or something like that. Maybe less. I don't know. Oh, I gotta get the questions here, obviously. This is great. I'm a prize flipping pro in RS. Yeah. What about guilds? Guilds are. I already spoke about guilds. But guilds are a thing that we really want to. We don't just want to like add guilds. We want to add guilds the way they were in medieval ages. We want to add guilds that seriously make you feel like you're part of something bigger than yourself. Make you feel like pretty much like your own army, you know? So when making a guild, it's going to have features of having like a notice board. It's going to have a message of the day in the interface. You're going to be able to like create custom ranks, name those ranks. You're going to assign ranks to people. You'll have your own guild hall. You'll have your private spaces that you can go to. You'll have private chat for guilds. You'll have, you know, all those kind of things are things we want to add into the guild system. This is also a reason why guilds will take a bit longer, but I think guilds can be such a vital thing for a game. RuneScape did it poorly, beyond poorly. Their guild system was extremely subpar. When they added guilds, it was this system of their idea was good. They had a guild system. You could form guilds, clans they were called, and then you could invite your members, and you had a private chat, and that was pretty much it. You had those castles that you could build, but at the same time, it wasn't really building. Like it was more of like you were doing mini games to contribute to your castle, and grow it. But we want to take it further than that. We want to give you the ability to actually place furniture, build walls, shape the outsides, create rivers. You know, like legit, like almost like a map designer inside the game for creating your own guild halls. And we believe that that is going to be one of the features that will really make guilds something different on Curse of Arrows compared to other games. Most games go a certain length for adding guilds, but we want to make sure that you can make a guild completely to your liking, like completely craft the guild hall, make a beautiful river that runs past it, add like six different floors where your floor will only be accessible by you, and the second floor will only be for the recruits and whatever. And you'll be needing resources for that, so you'll have coffers where people can donate money to, and a guild bank where you can deposit items into, but you can select who will be able to take items out of those coffers as well, so that you get this kind of hierarchy where you as a guild leader sit on top, and you have, for example, two people who are overseers of your guild who are able to take items out of the coffers. Everyone below will be able to put items into the coffers, for example, so that you get this kind of like almost like you have your own little village in medieval times, and you contribute to something that is your guild castle. So people could be going out mining iron ore, because something is going to need like 5,000 iron, or something will be needing like, I don't know, 10,000 oak logs to create the wooden flooring, so that everyone can contribute, deposit those items into the guild coffers, guild bank, and then when it's ready, the guild overseers or whoever has the permission can be like, all right, start building, and then they start creating those guild halls to the way they like it. Um, so guilds are going to be something that will be extremely exciting, and I'm very excited to start making it. But it's too soon to actually start diving into guilds, because it needs a lot of foundation that we don't have yet. Um, but rest assured, guilds are definitely something we will be creating. We will be definitely pouring a lot of effort into making guilds. Um, yeah, spit me some more ideas. Oh, actually, I was looking into things to spoil. I completely forgot. How terrible of me. But yeah, give me some more questions. I need more questions. Yeah, I'm teasing this. I found something nice. This is the only thing in this series I'm gonna tease. This. This is that new ore that I spoke about that will be for access only. You'll be able to mine that. Um, these auras will be for access only, meaning that you'll need to have the level requirement to get it for access. They will also be relatively high, so this is not going to be like some kind of like level 20 ore that you can mine with your iron pickaxe. This is going to be higher tiered. Um, I don't want to tease the rest of it yet, like the items involved or the things you can create from it, because like I said, I like the suspense of whoever gets too weird after this piece and see how it looks. But this is part of the upcoming update as well. Display. Pretty a faith color. That's nice. Yeah, it's the first green we're introducing to the game. We have no greens yet. We have pretty much every color, but no green yet. So this will be indeed the first green one. Um, how do you want us to treat this information? Definitely keep it confidential. Everything I've been saying here is because you guys are supporting the game, because you guys are like putting your money towards development. But I'd appreciate if pretty much everything that I've said here stays between us, because as much as I would love to share everything with the world unfortunately doesn't really understand how making a game works. And if I say something is going to come out, I'll hear it next week, and I'll hear it the day after, and the day after, and then 2 weeks from there they'll be asking, "Hey, didn't you say that this and this was coming out?" And next thing I know, they'll be pinning me to it. So for those two reasons, one is the most important to me. You guys are special in a way where you contribute voluntarily towards the development. So I believe that this is something you deserve. You need to know a bit about what's going on. And yeah, just a second, people will keep me to things, and I don't like being kept to things that I can't make happen, or things that are out of my control. I have a lot of external factors, one being art. If I say that we're introducing this new fire elemental and they see that the animations are done, they're gonna be like, oh, so all I need to do is make a new boss room for it, and then you're done. Oh, so that's gonna be like 2 weeks, and then someone's gonna make a video in 2 weeks. This is gonna be out, and everyone's gonna be after 2 weeks asking me why the update isn't out. So let's just keep all this on the down low. Yeah, first rule of the fight, but don't talk about arrows. Um, but yeah, I've not had any more questions. Are you guys like completely answered? Was my display capture on while I was showing the rock? Yeah, it was, right? I didn't go full retard here, did I? You guys saw it, or maybe you didn't. Did you guys see what I was just using? The green rock? Yeah, because you said it was green. Would you be willing to post a priority list for art assets? Only tile size, bosses, character animations. I could post it, but not in a way without spoiling what we're working on. I'm not sure how you mean this question, but I assume to help find artists or something. Um, do you like the idea of arena 1v1, 2v2, 3v3? 1v1, 2v2. PvP is something in general that needs to be reworked, like I said before, but the Battlegrounds was an experiment that turned out better than we initially thought it would be. Battlegrounds was very well received, given for how much thought and time we put into it, because it was pretty much an experiment to see how people would react to something that was PvP based. And even though we haven't given it much time in the past, yeah, almost like a year, because it was relatively soon that we introduced it. It it still is a game that a lot of people play. So it has been an example of people liking PvP content. So in the future, you'll probably also see some kind of like RuneScape-esque duel arena where you can duel your opponents. But you also probably, at some point when PvP is reworked, because this all obviously depends on PvP, um, where you will see that PvP will also be some kind of ranked stuff. This is something that we've been saying since day one. We want to get to a point where PvP is balanced enough and the game is balanced enough that we'll be able to hold competitions, like serious competitions with like prize pools, where people can win either items or like maybe even money if we're loaded at some point. Um, but it needs PvP to be reworked first before we can dive into both those dual modes and more Battlegrounds content. Because as fun as Battlegrounds is, if there's someone level 110 with full Phantom, you're not gonna like stand like even the slightest bit of a chance as like a level 10 who wants to participate. So it's out of balance and stuff. Um, we have thought about making it like scaled that everyone would have the same level. They would be in the lobby for a bit, be able to pick their stats and then fight with the same gear. We had even thought about some kind of last man standing esque thing where it would be inspired by Minecraft and the Hunger Games. You would be dropped in an area, same stats, same levels, and you would have to find bows, find weapons, and then whoever survives last. Like stuff like that would be extremely fun, but we need to rework PvP first before we can even dive into that. How do you feel about polls on game login? I think polls are a great idea, but RuneScape has shown that polls can also be a terrible idea. Like their execution of polls sometimes is awful. Um, for example, I will never poll content. Um, I'll occasionally drop things into a chat to see what people think of certain things. You cannot poll content. There is a reason why Blizzard doesn't do it. If you poll content, people don't ever get your entire vision, first of all, and people are out for themselves. If I'm a miner, and I don't care about PvP content, I will vote no to adding new PvP content because it is not in my best interest. And not everyone works like that, and I probably wouldn't think like that if I actually played the game. But a lot of people are that way. So even though I love to poll things, um, I would like to restrict that to things like small opinions on things that aren't related to big pieces of content, because you can never accurately pull what people think, because they'll never see your true idea. They'll never see what you have planned. Like if I were to pull the fire elemental boss, everyone would vote yes. But what if my real idea was that the fire elemental boss couldn't die? For example, they will never know that that was my intention. They'll vote yes. I release it, it can't die, and they're upset. Um, so for that reason, yeah, I'm gonna keep polling to minimum, but maybe in the future we can have things where you can poll like minor changes, aesthetic changes, things like that. That would be something I would be open for. Um, we had a successful event in Battlegrounds on our anniversary. It was a lot of fun. Had to make some custom. Oh, I didn't even know. You should have told me about that. That sounds fun. Custom Battleground anniversary. Uh, but I also feel like the battlegrounds could be like this door to some more exciting unstaked PvP events. Because if for example, if us mods could define a set of rules for battlegrounds or have a specific prize or whatever, then battlegrounds would also be a fun piece of content we could use in events. So similar to that, sounds pretty cool. Um, but yeah, we're running low on questions. I'm going to end the stream here. I want to thank all of you guys for being here with me, for giving me your questions, for letting me hear your thoughts. It's been very insightful. I hope that you can keep your mouth shut because I know it's a lot to talk about, but you can talk about it in a patron chat with other patrons. I would appreciate if you would keep these things on the down low. Um, with that being said, there's a lot to look forward to, as you've seen. There is a lot of things in the works. There are a lot of things that we are extremely excited about, and are working hard on. Keep in mind, we're a small team. We don't have that much power, but eventually you'll see all these things that we were teasing, and an update's just around the corner. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was your captain speaking, and I'll probably be here sometime next week, the week after. I'll try to keep this a bit more frequent. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Have a nice day wherever you are. And see you in game.